Nearly every religion shares one central message: God exists, a being who created the universe, made humanity, and watches over our lives. But some thinkers have asked a very different question. What if the story is backward? What if it was human beings who created God? Not out of malice, not out of deception, but out of something far more human: fear. Fear of death, fear of nature, fear of chaos, fear of a world that often feels indifferent and impossible to understand. Tonight, we explore a challenging possibility. Could fear be one of the deepest roots behind the invention of God? The world was never safe for early humans. If we are honest, the universe was never designed to feel safe. For most of human history, life meant danger, storms, disease, famine, predators, violence, death arriving without warning. Early humans lived in a world they could barely control. A lightning strike could burn a forest. A sickness could erase an entire tribe. A drought could mean starvation. And the worst part was this: they had no explanation. Why does the sky rage? Why does the earth shake? Why does the harvest fail? Why does someone die suddenly? When the human mind faces something terrifying and unexplained, it usually does one thing: it creates explanations, even when those explanations are wrong. The brain looks for agents behind events. One of the most important traits of the human mind is this: we naturally look for intentional agents behind events. If a branch moves in a forest, we assume something moved it. Maybe an animal, maybe an enemy, maybe danger. That instinct helped our ancestors survive. If they falsely assumed a predator was nearby, they wasted some energy. But if they ignored a real predator, they died. So evolution rewarded minds that over-detected agency. And that same tendency may have shaped religion. Sometimes we see intention even where none exists. A storm becomes someone's anger. An earthquake becomes punishment. A flood becomes judgment. And suddenly, nature is no longer random. It has a mind behind it. Thunder once sounded like a god. Imagine living thousands of years ago. It's night. The sky suddenly explodes with light. A deafening roar shakes the air. Today, we call it lightning and thunder. But to early humans, it would have been terrifying and mysterious. When something powerful happens and no explanation exists, the mind often reaches for the simple one. The mind often reaches for the simple one. Someone did this. Maybe a powerful being in the sky. Maybe something angry. Maybe something that must be appeased. That is why so many ancient religions had gods of thunder, gods of storms, gods of oceans, gods of fertility, gods of war. Nature became personal. And if nature was personal, perhaps it could be negotiated with. Fear of death may be even bigger. But fear was never only about storms. One of the humanity's deepest fears has always been death. We are among a few creatures aware that one day we will no longer exist. That awareness can be physiologically heavy. The thought that consciousness ends, that relationships end, that everything we know disappears. For many minds, that is difficult to bear. So religions often offer a powerful answer. Death is not the end. There is another world, a heaven, a soul that survives, a continuation beyond the grave. That belief can reduce extinctional fear dramatically. But here is the uncomfortable question. Did these beliefs emerge because they are true or because they are comforting? The physiology of terror management. Physiology has explored something similar through what is often called terror management theory. The basic idea is simple. Much of human culture may help us cope with the knowledge that life is finite. Belief in immortal souls, belief in cosmic purpose, belief that our lives matter within a grand design. These ideas can soften the fear of extinction. They tell us you are not temporary, you are not accidental, you are part of something larger. That message is emotionally powerful, and perhaps that power helps explain why such beliefs spread so widely. Fear of justice also demands answers. Another ancient fear is this: the world often feels unfair. Good people suffer, cruel people prosper, the innocent is harmed, the guilty escape. That reality can be deeply disturbing. So many religions offer another form of reassurance. If justice fails here, it will be delivered later. There is a final judge, a cosmic courtroom, a being who sees everything and balances the scales. That belief preserves moral hope. But once again, we must ask, is it true? Or does it answer a fear we want answered? Gods often look like us. When we study history, something interesting appears. Gods often reflect human physiology. They become angry, jealous, loving, punishing, rewarding, protective, vindictive. Many ancient gods look less like transcendent beings and more like amplified humans with unlimited power. That has led some thinkers to reserve the old religious claim. Maybe humans created gods in their own image, not the other way around. This is not an attack on believers. We should be fair and careful here. Explaining physiological roots of beliefs does not prove every believer is motivated by fear. Human belief is complex. Family, culture, personal experiences, community, mystical feelings, tradition, identity, all of these can shape faith. So the argument is not all believers are afraid. That would be simplistic and false. The real question is narrower and deeper. Could fear be one major reason belief becomes so widespread across history? That possibility deserves serious thought. Comfort is not the same as truth. Something can feel emotionally necessary and still be false. A belief can reduce anxiety and still fail as explanation. A story can comfort grief and still not describe reality. This distinction matters because many people confuse usefulness with truth, but they are not the same thing. The fact that an idea helps us cope does not automatically mean the universe agrees with this. What if many beliefs begin in fear? Maybe the most important question is not whether people invented God consciously. The deeper question may be this: if many of our strongest beliefs were shaped by fear, should we accept them without examination? Or should we step back and ask, do evidence and reason support this belief? Or does it mainly make us feel safer? Those are not identical standards. Human progress often begins here. Asking questions like, this is uncomfortable, because some beliefs have been protected for centuries, wrapped in reverence, shielded from scrutiny. But intellectual progress often begins the moment people dare to question what was once untouchable. When we ask whether inherited belief reflected truth or human physiology, perhaps belief in God did not begin with evil intention. Perhaps it began with ordinary human vulnerability, with fear of storms, fear of death, fear of injustice, fear of meaninglessness. And if that is true, it does not make humans foolish. It makes humans human. But once we understand that possibility, a new responsibility appears to ask whether our beliefs are grounded in evidence or inherited from fear. This question is not about judging people. Whether someone believes or not says little by itself about their worth. Most of us inherit beliefs from culture we did not choose. But tonight, question remains powerful. Does belief in God come more from truth or from human fear? Write your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy conversation like this, stay with us. Because in the next videos, we are going after questions many people were told should never be asked. And never forget, nothing is more sacred than asking questions.